Hi, TSC, could you promote us to panelists, please?
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat that?
Hi, TSC, could we have the ability to share a screen, please? Thank you.
Drew. Well, it is 5:38. We've got 6 board members in the room here, so I can go ahead and actually call the meeting to order. First matter of business is to approve the meeting minutes from last month. It was only 3 weeks ago. It's been the Juneteenth, but it was just back last time. June 27th. Does anybody have any corrections or changes to make?
I do. And some of these are gonna sound nitpicky, but I was
We do.
in that kind of a mood when I looked at them. First of all, my last name is 2 words, it's Snyder Salvin. It's not hyphenated, but it's not Salvin, it's both.
Okay,
So if you could honor
Yeah.
that, I would appreciate that.
absolutely.
The there's transitional notes, and then, in 2 cases, so-and-so brought that conversation to topic, which is interesting. I've not seen that before, but I don't dislike it. But the tenses are different. One is past and one is present. So if we're gonna do that, I would suggest we should probably use the same tense each time.
Okay.
You know, again, nitpicky. Then there's a typo. It is page 3 at the bottom, Polly's note regarding Dawn, interest to discuss spell.
Okay.
And then, let's see, there's a note regarding comments that I made, and there's the word used leverage, which I'm uncomfortable with. That's not, I didn't use that word, and I'm not comfortable with it. I would prefer something along the lines of building collaboration efforts or something.
Okay.
Rather than leverage is not a word I would use.
Okay,
So there you go.
perfect.
Said a bit nitpicky.
I don't know, we want to make sure these represent what you guys say, because I don't have the staff time to do them all verbatim. But I will appreciate any type of comments you guys have and organization for them as well. So, thank you for that. I do think that we should take a quick roll call as well, while we're still reviewing some items. The meeting has been called to order. So I'm just gonna name off the names here, while we go through, the roll call. Duncan Campbell. Here. Danielle LaChante Bell. Holly Root Sturgeon.
Here.
Don Hall. Here. Debbie Reed.
Here.
Doug Wilson. Devin Blankenship. Don Maxwell. Here. Susan Snyder Salmon.
Here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, well then, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 27th. With the changes. With the changes, yes. Approve the meeting minutes with the changes that Susan.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. I'll now call the roll. Holly Root Sturgeon.
Yes.
Don Hall.
Yes.
Debbie Reed.
Yes.
Don Maxwell.
Yes.
Susan Snyder Salmon.
Yes.
Duncan Campbell.
Yes.
All right, motion passed. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda. So we have administrative business coming up. So we have a few items in here. We have the Historic Preservation Fund grant program. Scroll down so we can do some of that. So I believe this was a message that was emailed to a lot of you as well. Basically, it's a grant fund, and they were talking about the match requirements. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with this item. I was speaking with Tammy Bierman before this meeting earlier this afternoon, and just trying to get a sense of my role as well with some of these more administrative items, because I'm not very well versed yet in some of them. So some things will pop up that I believe that you will all be more familiar with, at least than I will be, but I'm happy to facilitate conversation and also, as I already have been doing, forward you all some various emails as well. So, does anyone have any comments regarding this grant fund or have a?
This annual announcement that Historic Preservation Fund is a federal program, federal monies allocated by Congress to the states through their state historic preservation offices, all for their matching funds for nonprofit organizations. Some bricks and mortar, some administrative, various things. This is an annual announcement to show the package if you want. I think they're up to $50 match.
I don't have any projects that I think would fit this grant, but we can keep it in mind as we discuss things due in October.
Moving on to the next item is the Monroe County Historic Preservation continuing education. I don't actually have an item listed on here, but we do have a shared link on Google Drive that planning staff manages, where there's an opportunity for each of you to add things in if you go through them, furthering your education in historic preservation and keeping tallies on that. This is a non-reporting year, so we'll just want to make sure that you keep track of those items and report them during a reporting year for the CLG, I believe. So I can forward that link to all of you. I think some of you have already been using it fairly frequently, but I'll send an email out tomorrow that will have that. You can bookmark it, and then just be sure to check in on there. I do have the next item is findings of the 2022 CLG audit. So basically, they didn't have anything too out of the ordinary to report. Basically, we all look good, according to Tammy's review as well. Have any of you had an opportunity to review this item and been forwarded to you at all?
I did.
Okay. Great. Let's check. Okay. Do we have any comments or discussion items regarding this one?
I do if no one else does. You asked me to look at something, I typically try to. I have some confusion points perhaps that we can do in my honeymoon days here. I get the sense that there are some errors and like we're referred to as a city at one point as opposed to a county. I get the sense that this is somewhat rhetorical and we've used in templates, the same language we've used over and over again, and not specifically addressed to us. There's a reference that, hey, you're doing a great job in terms of the constitution of the group, experience and background, and an approval kind of reference in item 16, but two or three places, there's the please consider making sure you balance your board and have good people who are educated. I found that offensive. It's just me, but I thought we really at one point you say we're doing great, but in two places at least, you say that remember to do this. Okay, we're already doing that. So I'm getting the sense that the report was templated, which is perfectly fine for somebody who's busy, but it should be accurate. If anybody else feels that way on the
I think you're right. I mean, that's a boilerplate response. Every year we have to send in the activities of the board, the educational activities of the board to qualify for CLG status. Which that is. So the city also has the commission, which does the same qualifying, and so does every CLG commission in the country. So there's a boilerplate letter. And fill in the specifics regarding your board where appropriate. Otherwise, it's all the same messages go there. Make sure that you continue to maintain CLG rating for your members, basically. So it's not an insult. It's just make sure you do it. That's what you have to do to maintain CLG status.
Well, I understand that and I get that, but taken as a whole, it sounds made up to me.
Made up.
Yeah, just we'll put this in there and maybe it doesn't apply to you, but it just, I found it difficult to read through that. I thought, I hear what you're saying, but and I understand that state employees are overworked, but it just seems to me that they're a little cleaner.
It goes out to dozens and dozens of those pages. It's just like most government reports. It's just like the announcement of historic preservation. So it's a response saying we received the information that you have to give us every year and you're doing fine.
But yet there's things very specific to our group here.
That's right.
So there's some things that were very specific and there's something we're not.
That's right. And those other things that are not are in every response to every board.
In item 13, one of the things that I thought was notable, and one of the things I thought was not pretty much attention to was the staggering of terms. I think that was some good advice there that maybe we need to appoint people for shortened terms because we run the risk of, say, 5 people dropping off board simultaneously or 4 dropping out. Yeah. Yes, I do think maybe we need to stagger the terms. And then the second part of that, which I sort of shrugged off, was, you know, they don't know us, but we know each other here, and I think we're all well qualified. You know, there's a lot of sort of list of professions there, but I think we're all qualified for it. So, as Duncan said, I think this is just boilerplate stuff, and they probably took everyone around the state. And then the point about the city, yeah, I think there was real sloppiness on their part. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, we may be one of only a couple of county historic preservation boards around the state. So city counts for probably 98% of them, and county only counts for a couple. So we're one of those minority, super minority groups. That's more of a way of explanation.
And I hear all of that. I'm just pointing out that that's something I found lacking.
Yeah.
And then there's the reference to, we're supposed to, are the references to talk to me about how to do local research updates? Is that the SHARD database that he's talking about? Please, under recommendations, the second bullet point.
Yes, I think they're talking short there.
Because I know that we've had conversations about the fact that trying to update SHARD is like ridiculously unhelpful. And then I misunderstand that. I mean, I've tried to change things and nothing has happened. So like, again, I found that to be, okay, who's this letter for?
I do think it's definitely notable just to talk about what we're gonna do at the end of 23. You said 5 members have made a possibility of, I know a lot of us are planning on continuing, and many who've been on the board for quite some time. But we do wanna look into possibly having some people in mind and talking about that. You know, we've had some members that didn't work out in the past, and maybe kind of keeping in mind who we could ask to fill in. If we have somebody that we think would be a good applicant, should a term come up in 2023.
Are the expiration dates in terms set by the The county or?
Aren't they every 2 years, everybody gets a 2-year stint, is that right?
Ordinance. I thought they were staggered.
Yeah, I think
And I thought they were two.
I think it's
3 years, okay.
3 years. I think they are staggered.
It's just-
So
we have
is
it
that
all.
possibly an error?
I think maybe just everybody. Somehow did it at the same time. I don't know how else that would
Well,
happen.
normally, if you replace somebody who's dropped off, I mean, if I left after a year, the person who replaced me would have only have a 2-year term. So it stays the same. And so it's probably an oversight if it's lost its stagger, because I think it's in the ordinance, they have to stagger.
Because my first term was 2 years, because I replaced somebody who was 1 year.
Okay, so are we saying that the 5 of us are all going to expire at the same time?
Yes, apparently.
Define expire.
I hope not expire at the same time.
The term would expire.
I can use some staff time to look into that. That might be
Yeah,
an
maybe if
error.
there's an
Yeah.
error or just
Sure.
a miscalculation.
Thank you.
Sure.
Before we move on, just to make sure that I heard it correctly. So out of 92 counties, actually, out of 92 counties, I'm hearing only 2 or 3 counties have this status.
2.
Wow.
All South Bend has a city county commission, so it's a commission that does both. That's because, and that doesn't comply with the state ordinance, and that's because they started that prior to the state ordinance, and they're grandfathered into that position. I'm pretty sure that's right, and then we're the only one.
Thank you. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is cool.
It's hard to get them, to get preservation ordinances passed in counties typically because they tend to be much more conservative than urban area, adjacent urban areas voters. And so when they see that you can come to their property and tell them how to deal with their house, they tend not to vote for it. So state legislator, county legislatures, wherever they may be, county commissioners, just not promoted.
Thanks.
And that was true here for several years until.
Is there a pool of known people, a place where one would recruit and build interest in surveying? As a board member, I mean, how does that normally happen? Just,
I mean, you and I
You
are
get
the most
lucky?
recent add-ins. I saw it on the Facebook page, which I was already following because I have an interest in this, and then I saw that there was a position open and applied.
That's good.
Yeah,
Well,
that's how I saw it.
and I know Devin, so that's
Okay.
how the first time around, how I heard about
And must have some sort of personal connection already to the board.
There was a notice that I think the county put in the newspaper, not the legal notice, but the story, where the county was looking for members for various county groups. And so that's why, yeah.
it. Because so many people read the paper these days.
It's such a bigger paper, worse.
They don't even have.
The Sunday paper is smaller than what a Tuesday. used to be.
So, yeah, I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
You digress, but yeah.
We're comparing 10 years ago to a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's different ways of finding out about it. Yeah, so.
I went to a workshop and after the workshop, they said, okay, here's the commissions that have openings. I think that,
Well, I mean, that's my question is you have to develop a process to try to develop and recruit people. It rarely do they fall. out of the
it was
sky.
like a general thing. After you went through the workshop, then you can check out which commission. you're interested in, or section. Those were, I think the city put it on. It might have been. It's right there in the city chambers.
I think the ordinance has a list of qualifications that are recommended. And I mean, one of them is something like that, known interest in promoting historic preservation. Interest, or so it's in that general.
So,
And I think one is lives in a historic district, and then there are certain professional, architects, preservation professionals. things like that.
History professor.
Yeah,
That-
yeah, Doug
history
History,
professors, you know, directors of historical societies, stuff like that. People have, you know, broad interest in history. The county, and then there's probably an administrative ordinance that actually directs the county commissioners to appoint people of those, of that ilk, of that broad ilk. And that, and the city one is much more specific, as I recall, but it is totally dependent on, and in that, in the city, the mayor makes the appointments with the ratification by city council. And you know, the quality of the commission completely depends on the mayor's interest or disinterest. So
It does state the membership shall be staggered so that the terms of 3 of the members expire each year. That's definitely in the language. And then it does spell out recommendations. You're absolutely correct.
and you don't, I mean, we can't really recruit people other than to make a recommendation to county commissioners. But that's been effective when county commissioners want to listen.
we've often just brainstormed, who do we know, who might be interested?
I think it's a good idea.
I approached Doug years ago about it since he teaches high school history and I know he has interest in historic preservation and he's also in the county and in the city. Yeah, so word of mouth sometimes does it, that they think maybe you came in because you knew Danielle. So I recall passing these when we've just brainstormed. I wonder if so-and-so would be interested, so, yeah.
We got David Vanderstel because he was, at the time he was running the historical society. So in a way, the roles are obvious, I guess, but you know, it's always good to have people in mind. It's changed a lot over time. There's been a lot of membership. A lot of people come on for a year or two, and go back on. Bill Stafford was on for a while. Nancy Eller was on for a while. Cheryl Munson was chair for the first 4 or 5 years.
Anything else for this topic? We're gonna add anything else?
Thanks for looking into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I'll spend some staff time and double check all the stuff about the staggering, make sure that doesn't.
Thank you.
Okay, so I do have one additional administrative item that came in actually today. Pull up real quick. It's a brief update on an item that the HP board had discussed prior regarding a rezone petition, the Rice rezone. Let me pull this up. Take a look. So in Crecilius, the planner working on this particular rezone. The rezone request has gone through, but there was a condition from the HP board that if the petitioner certifies that they do have some stone wall on their property, that they address that appropriately. So they got a survey, and on the survey, it indicates where exactly that the stone wall is not on the property. It's only like 2 feet or less, I believe. Find out exactly where it's at. Here.
It's a silt fence.
Silt fence is a best management practice to help against soil erosion.
Like just a small berm. I mean, I know it's silt.
Yeah, so you know,
He thinks you're going in the creek.
yeah, it's like the plastic black film you see with stakes around construction
Oh,
sites. Yeah, that's what they use to help.
I'm
with
thinking
soil erosion.
actually fence of silt.
Right.
Seems very effective.
All from one's perspective.
Yeah.
So right here, there's this, right next to the overhead power line is a stone wall. And this is the portion that is on their property. So
That's kind of small.
it's very small, yes. We just wanted to bring it to your attention that their condition basically was met in that they have provided a survey that indicates that the stone wall is not the property. Or not very much, right? Any comments, discussion items regarding this?
So no action needs to be taken.
Correct. Okay. All right, getting back onto the regular track of things. We have some old business items to touch on again.
Sorry, was there an item in the city part about the programmatic agreement with the state?
We have that in new business. Yeah, do you think that should have been an administrative item? I could.
Well,
I'll put that right
it happens every year, so.
Okay. Okay. I'll make note of that. We can jump to that. We all think it's more of an administrative item. Okay. All right, so moving on, we have the Kings Road rezone commitments follow-up. So this, to refresh your memory, it's the rezone request going on at 5577 East Kings Road. They're going from state residential 2.5 agricultural reserve with the intention of establishing a roof home / cabin on that property. So this will be going to the county commissioners on August 10th. Is when the date's been selected for that meeting. Went to the work session already, and the county commissioners have started a dialogue about some questions they have. But the last public hearing and most likely the vote will be taken on August 10th. So there is a little bit more time to draft up any more language of commitment that the board wants to establish. Basically, what you see on the screen is the commitment, or excuse me, the condition that was approved by a 5-4 vote. Excuse me, not approved, recommended by the plan.
I did send you a draft.
Okay.
It's later than intended. I sent it right before I headed over here.
Okay.
But I incorporated all your comments. Susan, Devin didn't have any comments.
He's in Ireland.
Okay, yeah, having a good time. So we sent you just a short template and that's, we feel fine with that.
Okay, great.
You just work on it.
Appreciate that. I will take a look. All right, I think we can move on to the next one then. So this next item is the Ray Barn renovation historic preservation criteria follow-up. We spoke about this one last time. They are looking to do the historic preservation overlay regarding the property at 4595 North Maple Grove Road. Quick synopsis, it's a rated outstanding property, and we had a lot of good discussion about this one last meeting. I do not know if the petitioner is on. Let's check. See if we have it here. Yep, David Ray is on and he has his hand up, so if we want to recognize him, we can. We did have some items for him to update us on. So if you want to give him the floor, you can do that.
Yeah. Can we make David a panelist, please?
David, if you're speaking, you're still on mute.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So I've just did some follow-up. My wife did quite a bit of research. She actually has an appointment again tomorrow at the Historical Museum to do even more research, but we attached the pictures to the application that you'd requested around the cemetery and the old bookbindery building. We submitted those today and then found out some more information on the, you asked for kind of the relevance of Ben Owens. Why is he relevant? So I don't know if you've had a chance to read it or not, but I just put together a little short summary of Ben Owens. I can either read it to you or you guys can look at it. I wasn't sure what you wanted me to do.
Pages like that?
When did you, send it, and did you send it to, the planning department or on the application for the rezone?
It was added to the, as like an addendum to the application this afternoon. So,
Okay. Okay, so that will now be in your packets.
okay. It's really short. You want me to read it real quick? It's like 30, like a minute, not very long.
That's fine.
Okay. So, so the builder of the Owens house was Benjamin Emmon Owens. He was born in Greene County, Indiana on May 11th of 1835. Ben was the youngest of 5 children. Ben's father died, and Ben and his 4 siblings were adopted by John Owens. So at that point, all the adopted children kept their original last name of Inman as their middle name, and then Owens on the last name from that point on. So Ben inherited the property after his father's death. His father was named John Owens, the one that adopted him. John was an immigrant from Ireland, born in 1795. And he attained the rank of colonel in the Monroe County Militia in 1819. His dad also served as a member of the Indiana State Board of Agriculture in 1835 and helped establish the first Marion County Fair. Ben himself was just a prominent farmer in Monroe County, but with 4 siblings, he was related through marriage to several of Monroe County's famous residents, including Fee, Waldron, and Blair. His brother-in-law was John Blair and was the leader of the Underground Railroad in Monroe County. So it's unclear if the Owens house was used, the house that we're talking about was used in the Underground Railroad. There's no documentation of that, but since the house was completed in 1864, right in the middle of the Civil War, it is a possibility, but we don't have verification of that. One of Ben's brothers was named Tom Owens, and that's the property that's just north of ours on the opposite side of Maple Grove Road. We're on the west side. Tom's is on the east side. It's a large farm on the hill. If you're familiar with that district there, a lot of cows out there on the stone walls. But he built another historic farmstead just north of our Ben Owens farmhouse. And that vast stone wall network is the 2 brothers built that as separate boundary lines between the 2 brothers' farms. So those stone walls there are still a prominent feature on the Maple Grove Road Historic District. So as you drive down, it kind of separates the 2 brothers' farms there. So I thought that's pretty interesting. So we did a lot of research there at the library and the Indiana Room and the Historical Society. We're continuing to do more, but that's what we have currently.
Okay, thank you.
I think I had mentioned, but I wasn't sure that it was clear. Could we get the names of the 2 people that are buried in the cemetery? It's in Shard. And one of the things we looked for was to add that to the Shard database.
We didn't include, those are unverified. It's listed as a ghost cemetery, and there's no definite record who was buried there. We have an idea through like oral history of who it is, and I can get you those 2 names. And it was actually Ben Owens' wife was married previously, and it was her previous husband and her brother-in-law. And they were buried in Greene County and then moved over to this cemetery at the house on Maple Grove Road. But if you'd like, I can.
If you could get names, dates, any information, and are there any markings at all on those 2 markers that are?
No, and I sent pictures of the markers and added it to the application. It's their ID. I could not see any writing.
They're not in great shape, but.
No, and it's listed as a ghost cemetery in Monroe County when we did the stuff at the Indiana Room. So it's listed as a county cemetery, and then we went over to the cemetery was supposed to be mentioned under the ghost cemeteries in that cemetery in the near West Side district. I can't remember the name of the cemetery. It's right past the Banneker Center on the hill there. And they have a list of several ghost cemeteries in the county, but this cemetery was not listed on that plaque. But it was said it was at the Indiana Room in the library, but we did not see any place where that was on the marker. But I can try to get you those two names that we have names.
It is in the Shard database and it's listed as the Owens Rankin Cemetery in the Shard database. So
Yeah.
reference to that should be a part of the application.
Okay. We'll add that on.
So I think we were, the reason that I had asked for more information about Van Owens was because we were looking at the criteria for designation, and we were trying to decide whether we thought we should include significant person.
There we go. She's back now.
Associated with the lives of persons significant past.
I'm not sure that this one meets that criteria. The last one I remember fitting that was the music professor, YU. This house on. Where was that? This one is.
And you said the last time, it's all of it subjective.
I bolded the ones that were agreed on last time. So, right.
It's just from what we just heard, I would say no, but when you think about, I think we talked about the size, when you think about the size of the population and the obvious fact that whoever was living and working here was some kind of mover and shaker, because it's such a significant piece of property with such significant buildings on it. So we at the risk of diminishing that meaning, I would say that at least we know there's wealth there, and there certainly was land wealth. That alone is a criteria in and of itself, but it does tend to lend itself to the people who fill that bill tend to be important people in the county. So when you see, it says lives of persons significant in the county's past, it's hard to believe that this man wasn't.
I would think he would have been considered significant at the time.
But it was the father who was the soldier.
Correct. Yeah. His father was in the militia and on the state ag board, but we could not find any record of Ben being on any holding any position of like political title or military title.
Did you look in there's a county history in the library that basically is a history where if you paid the author enough, you and your family got written up. See, do you know if he's in that book?
Watchley.
Reference to that book in the description.
I don't remember the title of the book, but
It's Monroe Brown and Morgan County history.
I'm not sure. My wife and daughter did most of the research, but they are at a meeting now, so I'm covering for them. My wife, like I said, she's going to be meeting again she has an appointment with, I guess, the historical center. You have to set up an appointment to meet with somebody for research. So her appointment is tomorrow morning. So we're going to see if we can find anything else out.
okay.
I have that book at home, a first copy, and not a reproduction of the original one. I'll look it up if you like, and I can pull back my email. So sure. If there are any reference to the Owens, I'll try very carefully to scan and get it to everyone's phone.
There's actually a scanned copy on the library site where you can go in and use the search function.
On the website.
Yes, there's a link from GPA. And if not, there it's in the state library. I look at it all the time. I actually have a copy of mine.
nice to know because the people I have seen in there, I mean, it is literally true. You pay $500. But I don't know if it would just anybody in it, but I know that I have read about something they always said. And usually it includes things like was on the board of trustees at the University from Census Days and Census. It was the county commissioner of the state of the state help us office at that office. So you can sort of get a picture of, you know, not if they were a great person or not, but the kind of roles they play in, you know, public affairs, which is really kind of the seems if he was a farmer and that pretty much stuck to the farm that qualified at that criteria. He was a public person.
And he died at a fairly young age too.
Died at a young age.
Oh,
Yeah, he died at a young age.
how old?
So it was only like, it was less than 10 years after he built the house. My wife has the timeline, but yeah, he died fairly young. Like he was only married. Well, it wasn't a whole long time. So my wife has like all his like, you know, day he was born, day he got married, his, you know, the kids' names and all that when he died. But I believe he died in the early 1870s, late 1860s. It was only a few years after he moved in.
So, where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, the census report for this time period did not include bagged land, so that's about.
My gut feeling is, if he is just, I don't want to say just a farmer, but his occupation was a farmer, he didn't hold any political office or anything, then I don't know that it would fit criteria 2, but his farm and his work as a farmer would contribute to the broad patterns of county district criteria 1.
So that's probably, and we've got plenty of criteria.
Yeah.
Stretch it, but,
The house itself, it's not.
I agree. House is pretty unique.
And then.
So David, it sounds like when you're filling this out, the criteria, there's 1 through 7 that we're all kind of.
Right.
1, 3, and 5 are the ones that your property is.
Okay, that's awesome. If we get anything more, we'll certainly let you know, but
It'd be nice to know what it is regardless of.
oh yeah. Luckily, Frank, my wife's dad kept a lot of records, so we've gone through a bunch of those, and it's really enjoyable to go back and look through some of that.
Yeah.
He's got the obituaries for him. He's got all kinds of stuff like that. So he had done a lot of work when the Maple Grove District was applying for the historic designation, and he kept all the records from that application. So that's where we got a lot of it.
All right, any more discussion on criteria for this one? I will note that going back up to the top, the agenda, or I should say the meeting schedule for this one has adjusted a little bit. Here we go on the screen now. So the plan review committee meeting for July 14th, that was canceled last week due to lack of quorum. So the next regular meeting that this will be heard at would be the Planning Commission administrative meeting on August 2nd. Typically during the admin meeting, if there is any desire from the Planning Commission that it go back to the Plan Review Committee before the first official Planning Commission meeting, they typically recommend that and choose to go with that process. It's nothing really happens substantially when that happens. It's pretty much just an extra layer of review. especially considering the comprehensive plan. That's the main role of the plan review committee. So that's likely what will happen. I'll add that in as an extra meeting date. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I believe it's Thursday before August 16th, which would be here. August 11th. I believe Mr. Ray had also requested a waiver of final hearing. I think I spoke on this a little bit last meeting. And basically that's just there to save everyone time. Everything is talked about during the regular session, planning commission, and they feel like they can make a motion for recommendation to the board during that meeting, they will do so, and then it will go on to the county commissioners for the final. Which obviously that date will be determined as later.
So what would be the plan commission at September 6th? And that wouldn't be on this topic. If it went on, if after August 16th, it goes to commissioners, that's the end of it.
Yes, so the September 6th and September 20 meeting dates, those are only if the planning commission denies that waiver of final hearing. In order to provide more opportunity for discussion, information for the petitioner to provide, public to make comment, that sort of thing. All right, if no anyone has anything else, we can move on to new business items.
I think we need to revisit, the postpone a decision on the camp, HPH. Letters right, conference at this meeting, so we need to make a motion to do whatever we're gonna do. Judge is going out to make that request, because that's due before we meet again.
Yes, that's a good point, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Do we want to talk about the, do we want to do the motion or the decision on the camp thing now, or do you want to say that till we finish the new business items?
Kind of old business, we can have it together.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Let's take care of it then.
So what's the issue? How to
Trying to decide who should get the funding to go.
the scholarship? How do we have one scholarship?
With two, and you didn't count who would possibly go. Nobody else.
Yeah, nobody else does.
But then that, the action of doing whatever it is, we need to do this, submit the names has to happen on this time. So I presume, Drew, is that you, that does that? Or does that come from Polly, or how does that happen?
So that would be, I believe, would be a motion from someone to make the decision, or make a motion to announce who they nominate, and then we all vote on it. And then I would.
My question was not that. My question was, how do we notify the state of those names? Who does that?
Oh, I see. Yes, that would be covered by staff. Yeah,
Okay,
we would remove that.
so I make that motion.
Okay.
Myself, Duncan.
Okay.
Isn't that self-serving for both of us?
All
We
right.
need a second on that, because last time I had supported the two of you. If you want.
That's so.
Okay. I'll second. That was my support last month, so I might as well keep going.
All right. The motion is to nominate Duncan Campbell and Susan Snyder Salmon to go to, or receive the grant money for the camp. I'll now call a roll
Sorry, it's not the camp.
It's camp and
It's the
PhD.
conference.
in the PH, okay, in the conference.
I got voted the camp. but the camp happens.
It's an inclusive thing.
It includes-
Sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha, understood.
But the scholarship is for the conference. Right. Yeah, it's inside. the
Camping
conference.
is
I see. Okay,
PHP, there are the letters, PhD conference scholarships.
Preserving historic places.
all right. All right, I will now call the roll. Polly Richardson,
Yes.
Don Hall,
Yes.
Debbie Reed,
Yes.
Don Maxwell,
Yes.
Susan Snyder Salmon,
Yes.
Duncan Campbell.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you both for going.
Gonna do a sidebar and go find some land records and start counting them.
It'll be fun. Should've gone.
So far, all three.
Yeah. We know where it's gonna be next year, when they announced.
Did you put it last?
I don't think they.
I'd like to go. If they announce where it is the following year, let us know.
I did for my first year, it was in Evansville, but dumped all that.
You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That came around. And Jackie was there. Yeah, a lot of people from Edmonton.
We had a whole table for you.
Okay, before we move on, speaking of motions and voting, the Ray Barn renovation, that was a new business item last month and was a old business item this month. Where last month we had a vote to continue it to this month. So do we want to, I think it'd be wise to hold a vote regarding that one as well. Basically stating that you're all in favor of those three criteria items. I know that we are still waiting for the petitioner to officially fill those out. But I think that in order to have an official recommendation by the Historic Preservation Board before Plan Commission, which is August 16th, I think our next meeting, I guess, would be August 15th. So we can also continue a formal vote on that till the 15th, if you would prefer, in order for the petitioner to finish up whatever they have left that they want to review or provide to this board.
I'll make a motion to approve their overlay rezone, meeting the three criteria we discussed.
Okay. Okay. All right, so the motion is to, if I can add the amendment to offer a positive recommendation
There we go.
to the planning commission or county commissioners regarding the three criteria. So a motion, a vote to say yes is a vote to approve that. I'll now call the roll. Don Hall,
Yes.
Debbie Reed,
Yes.
Don Maxwell,
Yes.
Duncan Campbell,
Yes.
Susan Snyder Salmon,
Yes.
and Claudia Sturgeon.
Yes.
All right. All right, thank you. And now we can move on to new business items. Pardon the scroll while yes, okay, all right. Next item is a new business item. The programmatic agreement among the city of Bloomington and the Indiana State Historic Preservation Officer regarding the administration of certain HUD assisted projects and programs subject to 24 CFR Part 58 in the state of Indiana. Yeah, I'll open the floor for discussion of this. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I need some background.
So there isn't a programmatic agreement with the county. There is not. There is.
I believe it's part of this, I think that it's included.
What to that part? Or just to that part? I know the county is consulting party, so. It just means less consulting.
There we go. City would have consulted with the Monroe County Historic Preservation Board of Review and Landmark Central Regional Office, Monroe County History Center, Booth Restoration, and downtown. In development of this agreement and invited those parties to be concurring parties to this agreement.
And when and where did that consultation take place?
Well, the way this was for is the State Historic Preservation Office is responsible for administering 106 review, which is relatively big review by federal funds are brought to historic sites. And so the state asks people in local regions to form these agreements with the state. So they can then refer 106 review oversight on to local authority. Which will be the Historic Preservation Commission of the city, this board of review, historical society, whoever else is on that list. Are as consulting parties, meaning that we have, if there's a 106, let's just say, well, like when I-69 came through, there were historic properties that were affected by that federal expenditure. So all of these groups were notified of all the material that was relevant to the hearing, the 106 hearing, and asked to consider or asked if they had anything to say or anything, any input for that procedure. And this board had pretty extensively with the highway department that was spending that money about protecting historic properties along the byway, particularly quarry and stuff. So this group and the city and those other groups there would be considered under this agreement would be considered consulting parties. So it gives you the right to sit at the table.
Okay, so I'm just trying in my head to understand what being said here. It says the city has consulted. That means sometime in the past. It's not implying that we recently did that before signing.
Except the secretary.
That's in consultation in the last year. I'm just trying to get the time.
Yes.
I had it out there.
The city of Bloomington wants to spend federally allocated funds in a historic district. Outside the line.
Okay.
Can be much less exciting than I-69. Yeah, there's probably 3 or 4 to a half dozen this year.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is required a vote on our part.
I don't,
I think the city.
yeah, I don't think so.
This is just asking.
We had this one where I highlighted, Drew did. Participate and sign this agreement or decline to participate.
And would you do?
I think that,
Indicate.
Drew, I think you have that on page 69, the 2 highlights, yeah.
And then there's the contact change on page 3 that you've made. So we need to.
And
Although the contact information, I'll point out, it still has Tammy's email and not yours.
Okay.
That's the email when they come out.
They responded. It could cause a real problem.
Because into her inbox, it may be delayed.
It's
I'll just note on that also, because it got kicked down to the next line.
Advisory Council on Storage Preservation.
So we didn't have to worry about that.
Sorry, Susan, could you say that again?
The contact information on page 83, those some got inadvertently kicked down because it's probably the column mailer, limits. There's an extra space or two in there. Wow. And then change Tammy's email to yours.
Just scroll down to heading 3.
Yes.
Signing.
Is it 83?